What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is part of a series where I focus on a specific director and rank that director's work from worst to best. Done such directors in the past as Spike Lee, Spike Jonze, David Fincher, and many more. You guys can check out those directors and there's many more in my director playlist down below. But guys, you clicked on this video, so you know it. This time around I'm focusing on Andrew Niccols films and ranking them from worst to best. Now keep in mind, I'm filming this on May 29th of 2025, and as of the filming of this video, he has done 7 feature-length films, so I'll be ranking them from 7 being his worst to number 1 being his best, and of course my humble opinion. And I also wanted to say, if you're new to the channel, this will not include any TV shows, short films, music videos, none of that. Specifically speaking, feature-length films, which again, he's done 7, so I'll be ranking them from 7 to 1, with number 1 being, of course, my personal favorite. And it goes without saying, but this is a subjective video, meaning that my list is going to be different from yours. That's what's great about film as an art form, and I am looking forward to seeing your ranking of Andrew Niccols films down below. But guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So kicking things off, my number 7, this was such an easy choice. I'm going to breeze right through this. My number 7 is The Host with Saoirse Ronan. I am a huge fan of her as an actress. Been putting this movie off for years, despite being a fan of her, and for good reasons. This is a very dull, derivative movie. I forgot it pretty much as soon as I watched it. I have very, very little to say, and I'm pretty sure in my Letterboxd review, I also mentioned that. So it is such a disposable movie that is very unfortunate, because when you look at the premise, it's very intriguing, but in execution, yikes. And that's why it's my number 7. Next up, my number 6. The wording and everything is so weird for this one, but apparently the actual title, the pronunciation is Simone. So I'm going to say that. My number 6 is Simone. But look at the wording for this. It's so off-putting. I'm like, what even is this? But that's my reaction watching the movie, is what is this? Because, again, similar to The Host, the premise is fascinating. And even more so, this movie is just mind-blowing in how far and away ahead of time it was. I mean, this is a film that's dealing in many ways with AI and how, you know, it's growing and growing and it's becoming more and more lifelike. And I'm like, think in my mind, I'm like, this is going to become even more relevant probably within the next 10 years. And the thing is that stinks is that I can't really recommend this movie because the execution left a lot to be desired. Like, it is a very, very sloppy movie. It has some decent performances for sure, and the premise is really good, which is why, again, I gave it an extra half a star on Letterboxd, but I was kind of disappointed in execution because it is such a meandering movie that unfortunately just doesn't really have much to say, and that's why I have it as my number 6, and that's why I don't have much to say about it. So that was my number 6. Next up, my number 5, we have Anon, which is a film that stars Amanda Seyfried and Clive Owen, and I was putting this movie off for years, not because I wasn't excited about this, it's just simply because I was putting Andrew Niccols' filmography on the back burner. So when I knew that I was going to be watching his films recently, I was like, okay, this was going to be one of the first I'm going to watch. And I'm glad that I watched it. I think that there were some definitely entertaining aspects, in particular in the first half. But as a whole, similar to these other 2 movies that he did, it's got an interesting premise, a fascinating premise, but the execution is, I don't want to say sloppy because the other 2 movies are actually sloppy. This just seems more of like a missed opportunity in that the execution left a lot to be desired. But as it stands, it's not a bad movie. It's okay. It's kind of middle of the road. But there are just far better films that you can watch in terms of the sci-fi genre. But as it is, it's okay. It's not bad. That's why it's more middle of the pack at number 5. Next up, at number 4, this is Good Kill, starring Ethan Hawke, which right away had me excited because I'm a huge Ethan Hawke fan. And he's good in the movie. I think that it's a little bit better than Anon. That's why I have it, of course, as number 4. But when I was watching it, I felt that it was both underdeveloped and overdeveloped in certain aspects. I think that certain aspects could have been done a little bit better, whilst other aspects just felt like they needed a little bit less simmering. So I wanted to like this much more. Like, when I read the premise, I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be one that I'm going to love. It might be my number 2 or 3. But when I actually sat down and watched it, here it is. It's number 4. So, not a bad movie. I will say that I did enjoy some aspects. And it is one that, if someone were to say, hey, I want to watch Good Kill, do you recommend it? I would give it like a very light recommendation. So, that's why I have it as my number 4. Next up, my number 3. This was also on my watch list for a very long time. And that is Lord of War. So, Lord of War, it's a rise and fall type movie. Also stars Ethan Hawke as well as Nicolas Cage. And there is some fascinating imagery in this movie. I mean, the opening scene, I think in particular, is just really, really good. And it really set the tone for what the movie wanted to go for. But it is just, it's an okay to close to solid movie. there are certain aspects that hindered the movie a bit for me, and I do think that by the end, I was kind of shrugging my shoulders. Where I'm like, wow, like you had such a strong start to this movie, but it ended with a whimper. So it's a shame because again, similar to all these other movies, you read the premise, you see the execution, and it just doesn't match. So again, I enjoyed this movie. As you can tell, I mean, it's my number 3, but I wanted to like it much more than I did. But who knows? Maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll like it much more. But I think the filmmaking is competent. I think the performances are good. I think Ethan Hawke in particular was good. So, not a bad movie. I did enjoy it, and that's why I have it as my number 3. Next up, my number 2. This is one that I last saw in 2019, and I'm not going to lie, I've been having an itch to revisit it, which is why I'm annoyed at the fact that I sold my Blu-ray. My number 2, it's In Time. In Time has an incredible, and I'm saying incredible premise. Like, the whole concept of time being currency, it's amazing. I think it's one of those ideas that when I first heard about it as a teenager in high school, it blew my mind. But in high school, when I saw it, I wasn't a fan of it. I actually really didn't like it, which ironically, I watched around the same time as my number 1, and I was realizing, I'm like, I guess I just am not a fan of this director. But In Time, because of the premise and everything, it made me come back to it a couple more times. And the last time that I saw it, I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5, which during that time, I was like, oh, I gave it a 3 out of 5, so that means I got to sell the Blu-ray, because when I was curating my collection, I was saying, oh, anything under 3.5, I'm going to, sell. Again, for curation process, it's okay, I guess, but in terms of now there are movies that I will have that are less than 3.5. Some movies I have that are 2.5 out of 5. So again, I'm kicking myself because I do think it's a beautifully shot film. I think the score is great. The performances are good. And I do think that although the themes are kind of heavy-handed, they are intriguing. So this is, again, a good example of a movie that I want to love. I want to be able to embrace it. But I know it has its faults. I know that there are some issues, in particular with some of the writing. But man, what a premise. And then, again, the filmmaking is so good. So, again, want to love this movie, but as it stands, I don't, and that's why I have it as my number 2. Next up, my number 1. You probably guessed it. My number 1, we have Gattaca. So Gattaca, as I mentioned, this is the one that I watched in high school. I believe it was 10th grade. I watched this movie, and I think it was a couple months later, I watched In Time, and that was when I was like, oh, I'm not a fan of this director because of the way he shoots action, because it wasn't very flashy the way he shoots action. It's very just matter of fact. And as a young teenager, I wasn't about that. Now, it doesn't bother me. Like, the way that he shot action in Time and Gattaca doesn't bother me, because Gattaca in particular is a film that I kept coming back to, because similar to In Time, the premise is just so fascinating. And the last couple times that I've seen it, it clicked with me. I realized I love this film. That's why I own it on 4K. I think that the score is one of the best I've ever heard. I think it is transcendent. It is truly incredible. The performances are really good. Not only is the premise really good, but the execution is really strong, especially as you get older and you can appreciate drama and slow burn pacing. This is a really good film. I think that not a second is wasted. Everything feels earned, and it's just a film that gets better and better. So if you've been sleeping on Gattaca, I highly recommend you check this film out. It's great. Gets better with each viewing, and in particular on 4K, looks spectacular. So, yeah, Gattaca, I'm a big fan of. But, yeah, I like to talk a little bit about the director usually at the end of these videos, so I'll talk a little bit about Andrew Niccols. Do I still stand by my thoughts as a young teenager about Andrew Niccols not being a fan of his work? No, I don't. In fact, I dare say that Andrew Niccols is one of those directors that I like some of his work, but for a lot of it, it's one of those things where the concepts of his films immediately grab me, but the execution leaves some desire. But that doesn't mean I'm going to back down on trying to check out more of his movies as they come along. No, if anything, when I hear Andrew Niccols making a film, I'm going to watch it. I think that he is a director that, again, he's not bad. I do not agree with, being a teenager saying that he's a bad director. I don't stand by that anymore. I think that he is a director that's solid. I think that he is a competent director, especially with like Gattaca and In Time. But there is some things missing to take him to the next level, if you will, in terms of being like a great director. But someone I still respect. I mean, that's why I decided to watch all of his movies and rank them. So, guys, Andrew Niccols films, let me know your thoughts. Did you like them? Did you not? Also, give me your ranking down below. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And as always, if you haven't done so already, be sure to follow me on Letterboxd, subscription, notification bell, and I will catch you guys later.